Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz. This is Ron's Rundown. We're going to go over the MLB game scheduled for Monday, June 17th, 2024. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comment section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, including my daily rundown best bet in the MLB, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Monday in Major League Baseball. First up, we see the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Carson Spears and Paul Skeens are your projected starters. Your Carson Spears making his first start of the season. He's had 5 appearances out of the bullpen for the Reds this year. 19 and a third innings with that 2.33 ERA, so pitching well. Not really a strikeout guy, but he's been able to limit sharp contact. No home runs given up this season. The control's been good, and I think he pitches pretty well. I think it's a good spot for him because he's facing a Pirates team we know is not great offensively, but also facing them at the right time because they played that Coors Field series on Sunday. They don't get any days off in between, have to play this matchup. We know how it's tough for these offenses to play after a Coors Field series. So I think Spears pitches well. Skeens, we know he's been excellent so far in his Major League career. I think we see a low-scoring game here. Give me the under. Next up, the San Diego Padres taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. Randy Vasquez and Christopher Sanchez are your starters. I do think Randy Vasquez is pitching a little bit better than we saw at the beginning of the year, but I still don't love the fact that he's given up a lot of sharp contact this year. He's given up at least 1 home run in each of his last 4 starts. His strikeout numbers aren't the best, and this is a tough matchup here against the Phillies and a solid starting pitcher in Christopher Sanchez. Now, Sanchez's last start wasn't his best, but that was at Fenway Park. We know it's never easy for a lefty pitching there. I think he bounces back here. The Padres have not been great against lefties. I think Philadelphia, while the Padres have a solid bullpen, I think the Phillies have the bullpen advantage. And while this is a pretty steep price here on the money line, you could take them on the run line, try to get a better price, but I still like the Philadelphia Phillies on the money line in this one. Next up, we see the St. Louis Cardinals taking on the Miami Marlins. We're going to see Sonny Gray and Braxton Garrett as the projected starters. Braxton Garrett not pitching too well to start 2024. It was mostly his struggles at Lone Depot Park, but even in his last game on the road against the Mets, 4 2/3 innings, 6 total runs, 4 of those were earned, and 2 home runs to go with it. And we've mentioned the home struggles, at Lone Depot Park with an ERA 11.68 in his first 12 and a third innings. So the Cardinals, while they're not an amazing lineup against lefties, they're improving there, in my opinion. Sonny Gray still a good option for St. Louis on the mound. A nice bounce-back start in that last game against the Pirates. 7 innings, 1 run, 9 strikeouts, only 1 walk. Excellent start there from Gray. I'm going to go with the Cardinals here and lay the run line, 1.5 runs. Next up, the Boston Red Sox taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. Nick Pivetta and Yusei Kikuchi are your starters. Now, this is a tough one because I do like the Red Sox to win it, but it's also not the best spot for them. They played Sunday Night Baseball at Fenway Park against their rivals. They have to travel to Toronto. Not a huge road trip, but teams that do travel off a Sunday night game usually not doing too well, at least in the last few years. But I'm still going to lean towards the Red Sox because I like their matchup here against Kikuchi. I like the fact that Pavetta's on the road. He's been solid on the road this year. And I like the fact that the Red Sox, I like their bullpen. I think this is one of the better bullpens and underrated bullpens in baseball. When you look at the expected numbers, they're number 5 in baseball in bullpen xFIP. And the Blue Jays bullpen near the bottom of the league in a lot of important statistics, including ERA 4.67. So I'm going to go with the Red Sox here on the money line. Next up, we see the Detroit Tigers taking on the Atlanta Braves. Reese Olson and Max Fried are your projected starters. The Braves had a big weekend offensively, and even, they lost that final game of the series, still scored 6 runs in that Sunday game. So, I like their chances here against Reese Olson, who we know at the beginning of the year, for the majority of the season so far, has pitched well, but just hasn't gotten the run support or the bullpen help. But now he's not pitching well himself, so that 1-8 record looks even worse when you look at the last couple of games, giving up all those base hits and earned runs, and with a Braves lineup heating up. I just think it's a tough spot here for Olson. You add to the fact that Max Fried, while his last game wasn't his best, it was against the Orioles, he's still been sharp this season. I think it's a good spot for him to bounce back. I think the Braves win this game pretty handily. I'm going to go with the Atlanta Braves and take the money line and run line at Truist Park. Next up, we see the New York Mets taking on the Texas Rangers. We're going to see David Peterson and John Gray as the projected starters. Interesting game here because I've mentioned that David Peterson looked really sharp in his minor league starts, but so far at the major league level, and this has kind of been a problem for him in his entire career, just hasn't been able to translate that success to the big league level. And I'm a little bit worried for him here, but I'm also not in love with the spot for John Gray. I've mentioned that his innings have been really limited this season. You do worry if he's 100%. And the Mets are playing pretty good ball recently. We know they're on a nice little win streak, and it's tough to go into New York in this one. I think that this is going to be probably a higher scoring game, especially early on. And I think in the end, I trust the Mets bullpen just a little bit more. So I'm going to go with New York here, getting a solid price on the money line on the road. Next up, we see the Los Angeles Dodgers taking on the Colorado Rockies. We're going to see James Paxton and Cal Quantrill as your starters. I got to go with the Rockies in this one. I just can't trust James Paxton at Coors Field. I've mentioned his struggles, his expected numbers. He's been a lot better at Dodger Stadium, but on the road, especially at a hitter-friendly ballpark, I think the Rockies can really get to him early. And, Cal Quantrill's been pretty sharp this year, but he's been a surprise. At this point in the season, now the middle of June, having a sub-4 ERA as a member of the Rockies, pitching a pretty much full season. Really impressive stuff. I didn't expect it, but, while the Dodgers are going to be one of the toughest matchups he's going to have this season at Coors Field, I think he does enough here. I think he keeps the Rockies in the game, lets the bats do the talking against Paxton, and I think the value firmly lies with the Rockies. So I'd lean towards the over as well, but I'm going to go with Colorado on the money line and the run line plus the 1.5 runs. Next up, the Milwaukee Brewers taking on the Los Angeles Angels. Looks like it's going to be Rodriguez and Jose Soriano as the starters. Soriano, we know, another ground ball specialist, and he is facing a Brewers team that's got one of the highest ground ball rates in baseball. I think this is a spot where you take the Angels in the first 5 innings. I don't love that Angels bullpen. The Brewers have been known to rally, plenty of times this year. I do think they have a really sizable advantage in the bullpen in this game and in the series. But I think Soriano continues to pitch well, keeps his team in the game early. The Angels bats had a pretty nice series at Oracle Park against the Giants, and I think they have a lead through the first 5. So give me Angels first 5 money line. In our next game, we see the San Francisco Giants taking on the Chicago Cubs. No official starter for San Francisco. Looks like it's going to be Javier Assad for Chicago. Not really my favorite game. We'll have to wait and see who the starter is for San Francisco. That could certainly change my mind. Assad's pitched well. The expected numbers aren't the best. I like the fact that San Francisco had a breakout game offensively before this series because it was pretty rough sledding in the first couple of games against the Angels at Oracle Park, but had a nice game, scored double-digit runs, and I think they can get to Assad for a few in this one. Like I said, we'll have to wait and see who they're going to start. That bullpen, the expected numbers are sharp for San Francisco. I expect positive regression for the Giants bullpen going forward. So right now, I'm going to lean towards San Francisco on the money line, but like I said, wait and see for that starting pitcher. And that's it. Those are the games for Monday in baseball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and don't forget to put your baseball picks in the comment section below. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Ron Romanelli. Good luck.